How to build an indoor herb garden using sub-irrigated planters. The key to a successful indoor herb garden is controlling sunshine, moisture, and airflow. A sub-irrigated planter has a reservoir for extra water in the bottom of the pot, allowing the plant to pull or wick water from the bottom up into the root system. It also has a drain. To build one, first you need a bucket. I spray painted mine blue. Inside the bucket, I put a liner and a tube that allows me to add water to the reservoir in the bottom. The liner is just a liner that you get at a home store for keeping your paint buckets clean. Here you can see the liner, the tube that goes down along the side of it, and some duct tape to hold it firm against the wall. If you look really closely, you can see that I've perforated that liner with tiny little holes all the way around so that water that I add through the tube can come into this liner and then actually back out so that it can drain out the bottom. Keeps the moisture levels constant. The water reservoir itself is actually made of concentric nesting containers that sit within that liner. The space between the bucket and the outside liner underneath the red tape is just for holding water. When you want to add water to your system, you add water through that vertical PVC pipe, and if it gets overly full, it'll drain out the bottom through a drain pipe. The nested reservoirs are simply made with paint containers I got at a local home store. All of those internal nested containers are perforated. The alternating spaces are filled either with water or with wicking material. For the innermost reservoir, I used a soda can with holes poked in it. It's purely for holding additional water. This shows the entire empty nested structure. Adding a little funnel at the top of the fill tube keeps the mess down. I just took a little plastic soda bottle and trimmed the bottom off of it, flipped it over, sanded it so it would fit in the pipe, put it in there, and it just seats that way. So now that the structure is complete, you want to add wicking material just to the bottom over the top of the reservoirs. For the wicking material, in a separate container, I just mix peat moss and vermiculite to look sort of like this. I put a little bit of the wicking material in the bottom of the outside liner, fill up maybe a 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and then I stack the nesting containers into the bottom with a cover on it and fill it up so that you have concentric rings of wicking material and water space. As a review, just remember the inner can is just for a water reservoir. The ring around that is for wicking material. One around those are for water. The outer one is for wicking material, and then the one under the red tape is for water only. The drain tube in the outer ring allows the system to equilibrate to an optimal water level by draining excess water out the side and into a bucket that's down in the center there. Just add enough wicking material to cover the reservoir containers in the bottom of the bucket. All the soil that you'll add or amendments up around your planting is potting soil, maybe with a little bit more of vermiculite, maybe a little bit pine bark in there, but for the most part, the wicking material is just at the bottom. Each of these containers will hold, a couple liters of water. I water them once a week. I located these planters underneath a bright sunny window, and I added 2 sun lamps, one on each side. I also added fans to keep the airflow going, otherwise thyme will get powdery mildew. The picture shown here is right after I planted them initially, and I'll show you in just a moment what they look like about a month and a half later. In my planting, I planted 5 plants: thyme, rosemary, cilantro, basil, and parsley. Cilantro's an annual, so I'll have to replant that one, but the other 4 are perennial and should be just fine.